Good evening. Welcome to this preview for windowsontheworld.net. I've been working very hard to put together a show tonight which sums up so much of what we've been talking about and so much as to the direction of where things are going and actually how people can position themselves into a more powerful and more useful mental interpretation, if you like, of what's going on. I'm talking about global health security. Yeah, we've had the UK now announcing that, of course, Public Health England has become the UK security agency, basically, of health security. And this is really interesting because it ties into what is perceived as the common good and in the public interest. And of course, terrorism is in the public interest. Drivers of change, such as pandemics, and of course, the climate change narrative, are all part of global health security in all aspects. We're going to get into that tonight. It's a really interesting subject. I'm going to take you on a journey through some of the information that we've been putting out over the past 10 years, but condensed into something very, very simple, which is the way to do it. A lot of the information out there can be very long-winded, but I'm going to get this across as simply as possible. And these short broadcasts on YouTube are merely to bring you to windowsontheworld.net, to the live shows page. At 9:30 p.m. every Sunday, you can find our live shows and also the full archive of every Sunday show we've ever done. And these are more like an encyclopedia of information which describes how this system of governance that we are now under works. Yes, it's absolutely tyrannical, but it's all done under the banner of your health and your security. We're going to get into that tonight and how the terrorism works for the state and how we are positioned and what our position is within this system at the present time. It may seem hopeless to a lot of people, but understanding how this works is the key to decoding it and also the key to the future for those who are still in possession of their own minds, their own spines, and most importantly, of course, their own uncorrupted DNA. So do join me in about 20 minutes, or by the time you've seen this, if it's later, the show will be the first in the archive at Windows on the World on the live shows page. And you can always join us live every Sunday, 9:30 p.m. on windowsontheworld.net, and we broadcast on Spreaker. So please join us on Spreaker. Please also subscribe to us on Odyssey, because Odyssey's growing. Odyssey's got some amazing stuff on it. I don't know how long it's going to be till it's all closed down, because it ultimately will be, of course, but make hay while the sun shines, because there is stuff on Odyssey that was taken off YouTube years ago. And it's an amazing archive, including, of course, everything we have ever put out at windowsontheworld.net. Many of our shows have been removed from YouTube, but they're still on Odyssey. So go to Odyssey at windowsontheworld.net homepage. All the links are there. You've got a link to our Spreaker channel on the homepage. You've got a link to our Odyssey channel and also our basically our forum, which is on Discord. And we've had a bit of Discord on that lately because we do get a few of these agents of the state coming in every now and again, but they are so transparent and so ridiculous. They're almost inept as the British intelligence services. And we're going to get into that tonight. Of course, the way this works is through defamation of character and barefaced lies and logical fallacies. That's how all of it works, from terrorism through to pandemics, through to the changing of the climate or the changing of the minds of people for the common good. So we're going to get into all that. Odyssey is great, says the Moog. It is actually at the moment, isn't it? I think it's fantastic. There's stuff on there that you just can't get anymore. I was watching some great stuff about the moon landings last night. Oh, can't mention that. That's a conspiracy theory. We're going to get into that tonight, actually. The way that MI5's kind of special needs arm, which is linked to Israeli British intelligence, called Hope Not Hate, have actually tried to basically defame people in the past and how it's backfired on them. We've got a little comedic spot where they're talking about how subversive channels like mine are. And of course, if you listen to channels such as Windows on the World, you might think that questioning the moon landings and having a bit of fun with conspiracy theories is very innocuous. But before you know it, you are going to get radicalized. And we're going to talk about how that happens tonight, because, of course, you're not being radicalized. You're being radicalized in the eyes of the communitarian public. And that's called mob rule. And that's what we have. Hi, Mark. Steve Watson. Good to see you on here, Steve. Thanks, everybody, for just joining in here. This is not the show, but the show's going to start very soon. So do join me. It's on in about 15 minutes at windowsontheworld.net. I work very hard on this, putting it together. It's very concise information, and something that you can listen to over and over again. And I don't mean that in any way to be patronizing, as though it's like complicated. It's not complicated. It's just that I find this with my shows, that I listen back to them and they are packed with information. And that's the whole point. It's a kind of archive. It's not like just a chat show, because I think we are beyond the point of chat shows and just exchanging useless information. And of course, we have satirized that with our characters such as Common Law Malcolm, and the directionlessness and the hopium that is injected into the population to lead them into the necessary cul-de-sac to take them nowhere, so that the agenda advances all around them without them being able to join in and participate, which is, of course, in the national interest. That's what global health security is all about. That's what the securitization of the population as assets for the future, through the COVID action plan, through the World Bank, and through COP26. That's what it's all about, of course. And please join us. Yeah, I'm not going to stay on here too long, because otherwise I'll just be rabbiting on. And I'm going to try and get this show nice and concise. So do remember, every Sunday, 9:30 p.m., windowsontheworld.net, on our live shows page, the full archive of well over 200 shows is there. And some of them have this amazing amount of information in, which is reflected in the articles and the posts on the front page. So if you go into the library and look at some of those articles, and some of those are listed as shows, they all contain articles and loads of links. And I did send out, as a bit of an addition to what I'm saying here, I sent out a link to a download for a part of The Heretics of London, the Smithfield Martyrs, which is now finished, which is our feature documentary, which has been it's been in production for about 2 years, probably more actually, because I did 3 years research for this documentary. And it's all about heresy and the Reformation of the 1500s. And it is so apt to what is going on. It is almost parallel to what is happening to the public. It's all about gaslighting, lying, and controlling the narrative in a way which is draconian. And of course, people no longer get burnt at the stake, but they will get disappeared. And of course, in Austria, we're seeing the first signs of the marginalization and the lockdowns for those who are uninjected or unincorporated into the new system. So for those who are unincorporated into the new system, do join me in about 10 minutes. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm just going to have a quick look at some of these posts tonight, just to see if there's, yes, that's all good. Evening, yeah, it all seems to be very good. The climate agenda is all about the way we can't build the badly needed roads and yeah, of course it is. Of course it is, to shut down transport. And it's the same thing as COVID. It's all the same stuff. Lockdowns, climate lockdowns, pandemic lockdowns, they are all drivers of global governance, and they're all drivers of something which has been planned for a long time. What do you make of the metaverse? Well, I don't know about that. He says metaverse here, actually. Your videos are all very good. Well, thank you very much, 408 Magenta. Strange one in Austria, indeed, but the pattern for the globalist agenda. Looking forward to watching. Well, thanks, Emma, but you'll be listening tonight. And you can always watch by looking at the chat box, because we have a chat box at windowsontheworld.net on the live shows page. Some people just still go to Spreaker, and I get all these comments on our Spreaker page. But if you go to windowsontheworld.net, the live shows page, it's all there. We have the chat box. All you have to do is sign in. And we're going to be talking a bit about that and the trolling of the internet and the ridiculous defamation that goes on and the laughable kind of discrimination that is aimed at people who are outside the official fake narrative. So we're going to be looking at that tonight. Yeah, watch Boris Johnson. Well, actually, I missed the government speech tonight, but I've been catching up on it. And of course, the whole thing is all going to be interlinked with terrorism, climate change, and COVID. And COP26 is just the moving on. It's interesting that China and India are now dragging their feet because, of course, they don't have to really clean up as much because it's the West, it's Europe that's being brought down. That was always the case. That's what Maurice Strong said in 1992. And wasn't it up to them? Yes, them. Who's them? Do you not know? Those who are part of the UN global governance system, or basically an elite tyranny which wants to take over all assets on the planet, including people. Well, they stated in 1992 that it was their duty to bring down Western democracies. And of course, that is also the aim of Extinction Rebellion, Insulate Britain. They're all there to do the same thing. How does this work? Well, we've talked about it for many years. I'm not going to get into it now, but it's all about the driving of change for the perceived common good. So do join me in about 10 minutes. And yeah, join up to our Discord channel as well. All the links are on the homepage at Windows on the World. So yeah, looking forward to this one. And do find it in the archive if you find this recording. It's all at windowsontheworld.net. Thanks a lot, everybody. Alice Bailey's corpse will be smiling. Yes, she probably will, because her kind of narcissistic and basically, what could you say about that? We did a show called New Age Global Governance. In fact, it's a whole series of stuff, and we go into Blavatsky, Madam Helena Petrova Blavatsky, and Alice Bailey and her New Age narcissism, and how the Lucifer Trust became the Lucis Trust in 1924, which is her publishing company, her and Foster Bailey, and how the great invocation, the bringing down of the light, is all part of the UN global governance system. No, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just business. Okay, see you in a bit.